On Thursday, April 11th, 2019, a 2-year-old boy was found dead, not by natural causes but killed by his own parents. He was wrapped in a pitifully torn blanket, and the blood was stopped to make his heart beat no more. Who knew that the police, who came to solve an argument between the couple, would find the helpless baby who was no more? Can you believe it? You will once you listen to the whole story with us until the end. The parents of a 2-year-old boy, who sadly passed away while in his PlayPen, have been sentenced to just under 27 years in prison. Brandi Marchant, 26, and Patrick Javonovich, 31, received their sentences on Thursday, each being given 322 months behind bars. Earlier, both admitted their guilt to charges of second-degree reckless murder, aggravated kidnapping, and child abuse. In the heart of Wichita, Kansas, Riverside Mobile Home Park casts a serene spell, where daily life flows seamlessly from dawn to dusk. Laughter echoes and dogs bark, painting scenes of everyday joy. Yet beneath this peaceful facade, a silent tension brews, hinting at stories untold and storms on the horizon. It's a place where calm and unrest coexist, wrapped in the silent echoes of Riverside. On a strange night Thursday, April 11th, 2019, Shannon Higgins walked out to his porch. Usually the air felt fresh and made you think of spring coming. But tonight something felt off. It began with a soft, odd noise that got louder and more worrying. Shannon looked worried because the noise from the next trailer home wasn't normal. People sometimes argue, but this sounded more serious. Feeling concerned, Shannon quickly grabbed his phone. It was 11:30 p.m., very late for such a loud noise. He called 911, trying to sound calm, but you could hear his worry. He told them about the loud voices from the next door. The person on the phone was very professional but also kind. Soon, a police car was sent out, driving fast through the quiet night to Riverside. This story is about more than just Shannon noticing something wrong and calling for help. It shows how people in a neighborhood look out for each other. On that weird night, Shannon did what he could to help, showing how important it is to care for our neighbors. It reminds us that even when things get scary or confusing, we can make things better by stepping up and helping out. When officers Jameson and Reed got the call, they didn't know what to expect as they drove into the mobile home park. Their car lights cut through the darkness, making everything look a bit mysterious and larger than life. As they got closer to where the noise was coming from, they spotted a couple arguing. The air felt heavy, like before a big storm, telling the officers they were about to step into something serious. In the middle of this tension stood Patrick Javonovich and Brandi Marchant, both upset and talking over each other. As the officers stepped in to calm things down, they started to piece together a story with two sides. Brandi talked about their evening, which was supposed to be fun but turned sour over something small. It sounded like a typical argument that got out of hand. But Patrick's story added more layers. He mentioned their baby, who wouldn't stop crying, and how hard things have been for them lately. It seemed like this was about more than just one bad night. It was about a family trying to hold itself together under stress. This was the scene that greeted officers Jameson and Reed, a couple caught in a moment of crisis, each with their own view of the problem. The officers knew they had to handle the situation carefully, understanding both the immediate argument and the deeper troubles that led to it. After Patrick and Brandi said it was okay, officers Jameson and Reed walked into the house. Right away, they noticed how different it felt inside. It was kind of dark, with only a few lights on. The place looked like any other home, with stuff all around that showed people lived there. But something felt off, like when you know something's not right but can't put your finger on it. The air felt heavy, making the officers want to look around more and see what was up. Inside, the trailer home was really quiet, way too quiet. They first saw the baby's room, which was full of toys and colorful things, looking just like you'd expect, but the quiet from another room made them go check it out. When they got there, they found something that made their hearts stop. In a room where someone should be sleeping peacefully, they found little Zaiden in a playpen. He wasn't moving. He had been wrapped up too tight, and now he was just lying there, not crying, not laughing, nothing. This was a big, sad moment. Noticing the fragile condition of a very young child who couldn't even support his own head, the officer took immediate action, carrying the baby to check on another child nearby. Zaiden was unresponsive, his skin chillingly cold. His small arms were unnaturally positioned inside his pajamas, which were tied around his neck in a dreadful state. Marks of varying colors painted a tale of suffering on his skin. Nearby, a haunting clue. A container of wipes stained with what seemed like blood. Despite the efforts of an officer to save him, emergency medical personnel sadly pronounced him dead at 12:01 a.m. On April 12th, the affidavit paints a heartbreaking picture of Marchant's 4-month-old son. He was malnourished, with a body temperature of just 94.9 degrees. He bore a bruise on his left ear, a swollen jaw, and evidence of 2 healing rib fractures. Additionally, he suffered from severe diaper rash and a genital infection. When questioned, Javonovich expressed disbelief, saying he always thought the baby was well cared for. He tearfully mentioned how he regularly fed and changed the child. As for Zaiden, Javonovich recounted feeding him on the morning of April 11th and not seeing him after returning from work that day. He was completely unaware of Zaiden's tragic fate. A toxicology report later found that Zaiden died of dehydration and starvation. What started as a normal call turned into something much bigger and sadder. A family's private trouble was now something everyone would know about. This was the moment everything changed for everyone involved. As the police start to look closer, a bigger picture begins to emerge, showing that trouble had been brewing for a while. This wasn't the first time officers had come to this house because of problems. There had been many calls before, loud fights that neighbors could hear, urgent pleas for help, and times when it seemed like everything was just too much. These were all warning signs, like pieces of a puzzle that no one put together until it was too late. The trailer home, which was supposed to be a cozy and safe place for a family, tells a sad story. Looking around, you can see the baby's crib and the playpen, places that should be full of joy and laughter. But instead, they show that something was very wrong. These spots, where a little child should have been taken care of and happy, were neglected. It's clear from looking at them that the parents were overwhelmed. They had their own big problems and struggles, making it hard for them to give their baby the care and attention needed. This situation shows how important it is to pay attention and help each other, especially when things get tough. After finding out what happened, the whole neighborhood feels the shock. The mobile home park, a place where regular life happens every day, suddenly seems different. It's as if the park itself remembers all the times help was needed, but no one really saw the signs. Now, everyone knows about Patrick, Brandi, and their kids. Their story is out in the open, showing everyone what happens when signs of trouble are missed or ignored. People start talking about how things could have been different. It's a tough lesson about paying attention and really hearing when someone needs help. The community starts to think about how to make sure this doesn't happen again to anyone else. It's a sad time, but it's also a chance for everyone to come together and look out for each other more. After what happened, the law gets involved to make sure there's some form of justice. The court system, which is there to make sure people are held responsible for their actions, starts to look at what Patrick and Brandi did. Facing up to the serious nature of their mistakes, they both admit they're guilty. This is a big deal because it shows they know they did something wrong. The judge then decides on a punishment for them. This is to make sure that there's fairness for the little life that was lost and for the other lives that have been changed forever because of this. It's a tough moment for everyone, but it's part of trying to make things right, or as right as they can be after such a sad event. This step is about making sure that there's some sort of consequence when something serious happens, and it's a reminder of the importance of taking care of each other. In the time after everyone found out what happened, Riverside Mobile Home Park isn't just quiet anymore. Now, there's a deep feeling of sadness and a lot of thinking going on. Detectives start to work hard, trying to figure out all the things that happened before that very sad night. They find out it's like a big puzzle of clues that were missed and times when people needed help but didn't get it. As the detectives talk to people and look at records, they start to see the full story of a family that was really struggling. Neighbors remember hearing fights and feeling something wasn't right, but they didn't know what to do. Family members share how worried they were, telling about times they called for help, hoping someone would come and make things better. Every story they hear adds another piece to understanding Zaiden's life. It shows there were chances to help that were missed. This chapter of the story makes everyone think about how important it is to notice when someone might need help and to do something about it. It's a reminder that sometimes stepping in or speaking up can change things and might even save a life. As the wheels of justice begin to turn, Patrick and Brandi face the consequences of their actions. The court proceedings, fraught with emotion, serve as a public reckoning for the couple's failures. Their guilty pleas, while bringing a measure of closure, also open wounds, reminding all of the cost of inaction. The judge's verdict, years behind bars for both Patrick and Brandi, reflects the gravity of their neglect. Yet, as the gavel falls, a question lingers in the hearts of those present: can justice truly mend the broken pieces of a community betrayed? Years pass, and the memory of that tragic night in Riverside Mobile Home Park remains etched in the collective memory of Wichita. Yet, out of the darkness of loss, a light of hope and vigilance shines brightly. Zaiden's legacy lives on, not just as a reminder of what was lost, but as a beacon guiding the way towards a future where every child's cry for help is heard and answered. In honoring his memory, the community finds strength in unity, resolved to protect the innocence and promise of its youngest members. The story of Riverside becomes a testament to the power of collective action, a pledge to watch over one another, ensuring that the echoes of the past pave the way for a safer, more caring tomorrow. Zaiden's story, though marred by tragedy, serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the imperative of care. It's a call to each person to bear witness, to intervene when silence speaks louder than words. In his memory, the community vows to forge a path of vigilance, ensuring that no other child's cry goes unheard. Child abuse is a crime no one should ever forgive. No child deserves this. Keep looking around you. People may appear normal from the outside, but deep down, they can be ruthless enough to kill their own children. Don't hesitate to intervene. Maybe you can save someone, maybe even more innocent souls who are suffering like this. Thank you for joining us in this heartbreaking case. Now let's wait until we have a new mystery in front of you. See you then.